Okay, YouTube, another long day at the shop. So how about a shot? All right, so today I'm going to get into these three clippers, trimmers, outliners. Sure everybody recognizes them. The OG Andis T outliner, cordless version of that, and the GTX EXO skeletonized version of that. So been using these in the field. I'm going to go over it, a little bit of everything, price, performance, and hopefully this information is useful to you and steers you in the right direction on which one you should get. So cheers, my barbers. Okay, so let's get into it. First thing first, as always, price. Let's get that right out of the way. Get this for about 60 bucks. Get this one for about 140. This one for 165. Done. Runtime, obviously this never dies. And both of these, and it says over 100 minutes on the charge. Accessories, both of them come with the charging base. This one you get the black and silver. This one you get the nice black and gold. For the old school joint, obviously you don't need a charging base. You just got the little hang hook right here for the hooks. Now, the other accessories that it comes with this one, the corded, don't expect anything more but a little brush and some oil. These two, you got the charging base as I just showed you, and they actually come with a set of clips. As you see, mine is still in the bag. I don't use these if you're buzzing down any hair. We have bigger and better clippers that are going to go right through it. So I think this is more useful, personal use, lining up beards at home, stuff like that. So for the home groomers out there, this may be, this may be clutch in your decision which one to get. So let's move into the other notable difference. Aside from being corded and, these not having a cord, you see the other difference with this one is the body. And if you're wondering how this whole skeleton phenomenon came about, is I'm telling you, this thing from what I remember years and years and years ago was, it started off from people trying to figure out what was causing the dreaded, doled out, pulling hair, and this, when it's just not cutting, it's just like pulling the hair out. And that's from a dull blade. And people on this version, they would take off this metal part because they thought this was somehow like squishing the blade and preventing it from cut. But really, it's just the blades are dull. You need to get new blades. It happens. Once that starts happening on the Andis, I've never been able to save it. Once it starts pulling hair, it's like I've never been able to save it. But to start off with taking this off, people used to cut without this metal bracket right here. This one right here. And then it came to people just cut this whole thing off and it looked like this, but the whole clipper was open. And I guess it helped a lot of heat escape. And the silver lining in this whole thing is when you're shaping somebody up, you can see the whole blade. So if you're coming down on the shape up, you can see the whole blade. If you're kind of looking at it, from the side a little bit, you can see the blade. If you're coming around a corner, you can see the whole blade. Whereas as the old school one and this one, your visions are like a little obstructed and you can't really see sometimes where the teeth actually are coming around the corner and whatnot and lining up. So that's pretty much the history of that skeleton phenomenon as far as I know it. Now, the other difference, you see these teeth are the same in the cordless and corded version. The GTX, you see the teeth are deeper and like a little bit more spaced apart. The whole reason for that is because when you have a deeper groove for the hair to fall into, it's going to grab it and cut it a little bit quicker when it comes to the longer hairs, the longer beard hairs. Like this was just used for outlining, just like short hairs and stuff. And look how shallow. Look how shallow that is. And look how deep these are. So that's the difference. You get the hair quicker in this. It falls in. The longer hair will fall in that groove and then get chopped up. This one, it doesn't happen as easy. But this one, usually have it so sharp, it's chopping everything. And I'll show you right now. But I'm going to do it with this version. See, even though the teeth are shallow on this, watch it cut. Watch it make a line. Look at that. This version, with this version, it's similar but not as good. And it may need to be zero gapped a little bit better, but I feel like it's because of the difference in motors between these two clippers, which I'm going to get into later. But for now, let's stick with the difference between the teeth types. So, moving forward, that's the difference with the teeth type. But one downfall of having teeth like this, it doesn't happen on this clipper. That's just one thing I want to add. And I'm just going to bring this in a little guest appearance. Some of you have this Babyliss Pro, and if you're lining up underneath somebody's neck, it'll get, sometimes this gets caught in people's skin because these teeth can be so pointy themselves that it'll get caught in someone's skin and you rip it out, and that's when you have like a little red dot of blood. Now I'll say with these deeper teeth, it has not happened with this clipper. I'll be buzzing somebody's neck hair off, and it doesn't happen as much. With that Babyliss, it happens a lot. If I'm cutting underneath someone's neck, I use this clipper, trimmer, outliner, whatever you want to say. Now, in terms of cutting ability, sometimes these Andis are funky, and out of the box, some of them cut like butter. Sometimes you got to tweak them a little bit. So, but the best cutting ability I've had out of all these is this one. Lasts longer. You line it up. You'll get one like the quarter version will just hit and hit and hit, as they say. Now, one of the reasons also is this has a magnetic motor. This has a rotary motor. So it's like a little thing rotating, making the blades go back and forth. This one, is magnetic, less friction going back and forth cutting. And the longevity on this is way longer. So it cuts better and it lasts longer than this one. This one I'm still using. I'm like a month in, but it's the same thing as this one. The only thing is it has a skeleton design and has the GTX blade, but it's still a rotary engine. Both these engines are the same power. It has the same runtime. It's just a little bit different design. So this one is cheaper. It's gonna last longer. It's gonna cut a little bit better as long as you got it lined up. And the only difference is if you're like a mobile barber, you need the corded version, the cordless version. When it comes to cutting ability, nothing's topping the old school corded magnetic motor. This works. People love it, but I've had problems with this. And the problem that I've had with it is that because of that rotary engine, that rotary motor, I feel like it dulls the blade quicker because you see I got two of these and neither one of them are cutting. Battery's dead on that one, but neither one of them cut. It's like they doled out and they're pulling hair. I can't use that, man. I can't use that. I abandoned it. I got to get new blades for it, and it's like I guess I'm gonna have to change them like every 3 months. Now, the other thing is I'm going to talk about the grip because we're talking about the old school one a lot. And one thing that Andis probably didn't even know that they did inadvertently is that anyone who had this clipper back in the day, you know, this groove and this raised text right here, this was a grip. When you were shaping somebody up, doing a beard, and had this grip on the clipper, you know, you didn't have this smooth, slippery part. You had this right here, and your thumb held the clipper steady. When I got the cordless version, you see, this isn't raised. This isn't like a raised text. This is smooth. So when I had it like this, it felt slippery, especially, you know, spraying, oil, sweat, everything else like that. That's why with the other one, I added the grip to it. So when I had it like this, you know, all different grips, it would still feel more comfortable. One thing that they changed with the GTX EXO is, you see this grip has a matte finish. This is still smooth, but it has a little texture to it. So you don't feel like you're going to drop it as easy. You feel like you're going to drop that more. So what would I recommend? If you're going to buy the cordless one, I would get the GTX. Now, the other thing I usually like to talk about is loudness. That's a timeless sound. Probably even takes you back. With these, I found it gets louder as time goes on because they have a plastic part that moves the cutting blade back and forth. And because the rotary motor is metal and it rotates, it reams out the part and then it gets loose and then it starts getting louder and louder. And I'm going to do a separate video showing you how to switch that part and bring it back down to a quiet level. And in terms of size, they're all the same size. And, you know, for a little bonus before I wrap it up, I'm going to open these up so you guys can see the difference inside. So there you go. You see this magnetic motor and how it moves it. And you see this one, it turns it and turns it around. And that's metal. They have a little plastic ball in there with it, but this one, this is the part that gets some slack and gets a little loose. Now, you see the GTX EXO inside is pretty much like the same thing. They just designed the body different, gave you different pair of blades on top. Rid of it. So I hope this helps some people out. Till next time, I got some Babyless comparisons to do. I got some other repairs to do and everything like that. So I got some good videos coming. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we're always going to take some shots and enjoy ourselves. All right. Peace.